Hello, beautiful. Today's episode is going to be focused on definitions that we use in the spiritual, the soul-led, metaphysical, esoteric space of what do these words mean anyway, and how can you define what they mean for you. And I have 5 messages for that process on your own. I am Jamie Ehrenberg from Idlewild Retreats, and this is my journey of following my intuition and becoming my truest self. So this episode felt really important to name, especially as I continue to deepen into my own work, my own belief system, and as I'm supporting you and others with readings, our intuitive soul readings, and there are words that I'm using that other people use that we do throw around in this space, but we don't necessarily talk about what they actually mean all the time. And so I was like, this is the time to sit down and talk about that. And I hope that this serves, because it's not only going to be my own definitions for these items, but also what my guide suggested for you of how to create your own definitions, which, you know me, I believe is the most important thing. It's you following your own knowing and your own divinity and really your own soul and what's right for you at any given time, and definitions are no different. So I'm going to go through 5 different terms that we use and that I use, what I mean by them, and then offer those five pieces of guidance from my guides. So the first one is the higher self. The higher self to me is the soul version of you that is closest to you in this lifetime. So it is all of the lessons that your soul has had coming into this human form, and is able to provide you guidance and be connected to you to live your most soul-led path and be your most soul-led self. And I also really feel like we can bring our soul more into us and how we're maneuvering and being in our everyday lives. But it's also where our higher self is that person that is closest, or that representation that is closest to us in this human form. So merging the soul and yourself in this human body, which is what we're working with in this lifetime. So I love connecting with the higher self. If you have done a reading with me, you know that this is actually where I get most of my information from you. I connect to your higher self, and I really let her, him, them come forward to show us what they wear. Sometimes I get really clear information about past lives through this, what you, or how you stand, what your essence is, and so that you can begin to embody more and more of that, to, if that is of your interest, to become more and more of this soul-led being and really bring it in. So not just staying in the mental space around that, but really be able to bring that into the physical body so that you can be who you potentially can be in this lifetime, the most expanded state of that version of you. So the second is soul purpose. Soul purpose is often a vague sort of overall intention for a lifetime that can be done in a lot of different ways. For myself, I know that I had healing for my own lineage that was happening. I have had the clear guidance that showing other people their light so that they can shine is one of the other things I'm meant to do. And for both of those, you can see that those are quite vague. They can be done in a lot of different ways. I can be a manager at a corporation and support other people connecting to their light and shining that light, that it doesn't have to be in this type of space that I'm in at all. There's so many different ways that I can actualize and realize that. And in fact, I feel like I did do that in my previous career as well. So these types of purposes are very overarching, can be done in a lot of different ways. And I'm going to talk about the soul path in a minute, but sometimes you get clear direction that it's supposed to be different somewhere along the way, even if what you've been doing has been following your purpose, your soul purpose in this lifetime. The books that I have read and the readings that resonate the most with me is that we choose what these purposes are going to be in this lifetime, so that we're helping our soul to evolve. We have a lot of human experiences if we choose to come to Earth, and there are things that we know that we need to do to develop in the way that our soul is meant to develop. And so you'll see this shouldn't be something that's super hard for you to access, because it's something that you chose before you came here into this human form. The third definition is current purpose. That soul purpose is our lifetime purpose of like how we're trying to evolve, and especially when there's something like healing. We know that that is typically an ongoing experience, and so it's not surprising that that's one of my things, and I'm supposed to be healing the lineage specifically, and then of course that's healing myself as well, but the lineage is a lot of the work that I've been asked to do, and I've done it so far as I know. But the current purpose is different. It is more of like a 3 to 6 month or 1 to 2 to 3 year window of what we're supposed to be working on at this moment in time to move us along in our soul's curriculum. And this can often, I feel like for those of you that are listening to this, often it feels like, how does that deal with my personal life or my career and my vocation? But often it's not like that, or it could be, but there's something else that needs to happen before you can get to that space. So one person that I did a reading for about timelines of like changing careers, it was, this isn't actually what you're supposed to be working on right now at all. Your current purpose is actually this, and then it's going to be this, and then it's going to be able to be focusing on your career. But these other things need to be in place first. And why, I'm going to give an example of why I think that's so important. So for me to transition into this version of me and my career and my offerings, I needed certain things lined up for me, which includes my current husband as a partner who is able to fully support me in this way, who is able to help me regulate my nervous system around a lot of things, but specifically around my health and my body. And I really needed that in place in order to step into this part of my work in the world and this part of helping other people's light shine. And that couldn't have happened previously and until I had this support. And so that kind of gives you an example of what current purpose, how that leads into soul purpose, but how it's also very specific so that you can almost unlock things and have more of your soul, more of your full true self, more of your capabilities accessible for that bigger purpose. The next definition that I have, the fourth definition, is soul essence. So I believe that our souls all have, I don't know why I'm even just saying I believe, this is something that people have been saying for a long time, and also in these books that I talk about that I've read, and I've mentioned it before, Michael Newton's Journey of Souls, and there's quite a few versions of that book where he's doing these interviews of people in altered states of consciousness so that they are able to talk about what it's like in the spirit world. And he's done this with thousands of people and has really collected a lot of data. And so for me, when I say soul essence, what I believe is that this is this quite literally this vibration or frequency or feeling of your energy and how that exists beyond this human life. Michael Newton's books talk about how in the spirit world we are able to actually recognize each other's souls based on that energy that we're giving off, and we don't actually have human bodies or even like really physical forms. It is really just this energy body that's moving around, and we all have this really unique frequency that we give off and this sensation that we give off. And so being able to connect to that, I have found that was one of the first things I did before I even was so focused on embodiment, was feeling that energy and how I know I'm actually in that energy and what does that energy feel like, so I can use it to come back to my own self, to make sure that I'm clearly not being influenced by anybody else, that this is my own resonance, and being able to feel that in my body. You all know that I'm a feeler, and so I know that it could be easier for me than other people. But that's also one of the things I do in readings, is connect you with your posture of how your higher self is held, so you can feel how does that feel in your body, and how can you hold that feeling and know that that energy is your soul essence. Finally, are you on path? So I talked a little bit about that with current purpose and soul purpose, but when we say, are you on path? Are you on your soul's path? What it really means is, are you following your curriculum or what you committed to before you came into this lifetime? And is there something you need to do to switch to be on path if you're not on path? Honestly, most of us are often, well, it depends, I guess, of where we are. Sometimes we can be really off path, or sometimes we can be doing something so different, but it's time for us to switch. So I did a reading last week where this person is ready to shift in her post-retirement career, but is not ready to stop working. She has so much juice and so much passion that she wants to be sharing still, and she doesn't need it to be in a 9-to-5 job anymore, but she's ready to transition, and she has been on path. She has been on path for this entire career thus far, just like I was, and now it's time to make a transition. So what does she need to do to get on path now, in this new version, in this new way of supporting her soul and its overarching goal? That makes it so that she's no longer on path for that version of her, if that makes sense. So there's this different version that's coming out and wants to be, and there's something else that needs to happen. And so how to get on path is often, it can be related to messages that your higher self is going to be sharing, or your current or soul purpose, but there's often just a couple of granular things that if you can start to incorporate those in your life regularly, that it will help you get on path for where your soul is meant to go. Now I'm going to transition to share the 5 tips that my guides offered for you of how to really discern what these definitions mean for you. Again, these are my definitions. They come from my own beliefs or other people's sharings and what resonated and what didn't resonate for me. The same is true for you. Defining what each of these things is for you is going to be so important and so critical. And so I want to offer what was given for how you can help make these definitions for yourself. The first one is that you need a definition that works for you. That seems pretty simple, but it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, again, just like I said, this isn't something that you should be just regurgitating because I said it, or believing because I said it, but it's like, oh, how does that land for me? Does that feel true in my body? Does that feel true to my own knowing? Or is that like, I'll take some of that, but not all of it. And so this should be something that feels true to you. Number 2 is sometimes it's a feeling and a knowing, and not always being able to define what it is, which I thought was beautiful. It's like an essence, the soul essence, and that's how I would interpret this one, is that that's a feeling or a knowing of like, yes, that's it, or this is what feels right to me, but not necessarily being able to put it all in words. And that's okay. God would be an example of this. There are many different words that are used for this ultimate higher energy that created everything. And it could be God with a capital G, it could be the universe, it could be source, it could be divine spirit, it could be spirit. There are so many words that feel right, and your own word, even, and how you define that word, doesn't ever have to be spoken aloud to anybody else. It could be just for you, and you don't also have to define it, and it's still going to be okay. It'll still be true for you. Number 3, beliefs will always evolve if you're open and curious. So I love this as well. I can say that this is very true for myself. In the last year and a half, the way that my beliefs have shifted has been quite significant. I see these patterns and time frames where my beliefs have shifted, and this is absolutely true, where what I am saying right now and the definitions I just shared with you, I probably am really honed in on for myself in the last year or so. And so that's pretty significant that I am so clear in what those definitions mean to me right now, because I was open and curious about, like, oh, what does that mean? Or, oh, there's something here for me. I need to read more about it, or I need to understand this more. And I don't even feel bad or awkward or uncomfortable saying that out loud. I think we're always supposed to be evolving, and so and in fact, if we're too rigid with our beliefs, then that means that we're not open and curious, and even just like, tell me more about that. Number 4 was, if you're confused or not sure, connect with your higher self. So we're all able to connect with our higher selves, and again, it might be through feeling your soul essence, it might be holding yourself, it might be that you have your go-to meditation that helps you connect with your higher self. It could be being out in nature and really being able to be there connects to you, and allowing yourself to connect to this version of you, your soul version of you in this lifetime, and ask her, ask him, ask them, what is true for me right now? What is true for my soul? And not what Jamie just said or what anybody else is saying, but what is true for me. And lastly, number 5, this all rests in your cosmic heart. There are many leaders in the spiritual, esoteric space, mystical space, that talk about how our hearts are how we're connected to oneness and the divinity of all of us and our soul. And this is our cosmic heart. It is when we talk about cosmic consciousness or the spirit world, this is us connecting to that energy, that universal energy that is so much bigger than us individually. And so I'm doing this motion, I'm realizing, because, and I know I've talked about this before, that the energy of the cosmic version of us is a spiral. It's not linear, it is a spiral. And as we evolve as a species, even on this earth at this time, this energy is just moving in a different way, and it's not moving as linear as it used to. And being able to connect with our cosmic heart of, like, how we move through time and space, how we connect to our divinity, how we connect to the divinity of everything, is through the cosmic heart. And that is also true about these definitions. They might not need to be defined. They might be most clear through connecting to your higher self, or it might be connecting to your heart. If I connect to myself in its most expansive state, when it's connected to the all of everything, what is true for me here? With that, I am going to say thank you for watching. If you are curious about doing a soul reading with me, you can go ahead and click on the link below and find out more information. I'm also going to be opening up a temple soon. I've been talking about this for a while, and so if you're on my newsletter list, or if you are a member of my community, you'll be getting individual outreach, if you haven't already, to see if you're interested in walking this path of being our full true selves together. Sending you a lot of love, and thanks for being here.